6 days you shall work, but on the seventh day you shall rest. In plowing time and in harvest, you shall rest. Rest was so important to God that He created the seventh day. It's time to recharge, renew, restore, revive, and reignite. Reed Temple, let's honor the Sabbath as we refuel higher in God. Reed Temple presents Singles Going Higher in God, Hybrid Book Club. Join in the discussions of Single, Married, Separated, and Life After Divorce by Dr. Miles Monroe. Virtual discussions take place on Tuesdays, July 11th to August 15th at 7 p.m. and in-person discussions on Thursdays, July 13th to August 17th at 7 p.m. For more information, visit reedtemple.org/events. Reed Temple, in partnership with Capital Area Food Bank, presents drive-through food distribution right here at Reed Temple. Saturday, August 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Come get your food while supplies last. Distributions take place on the third Saturday of each month. Reed Temple presents the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life Appeal is an opportunity for Reed Temple members to add an engraved leaf to the Tree of Life plaque. You may salute your family, honor the birth of a new child or grandchild, or memorialize family members who have passed on. Each engraved leaf is $175. For additional information, contact info@reedtemple.org. And make sure you join us for Christian Meditation 101, Saturday, September 16th, 23rd, 30th, and October 7th. Join us in person or online from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. For more information, visit reedtemple.org/events. Get ready for Read en Blanc, Saturday, September 30th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Space is limited, so register today. Discipleship in Real Time presents Disciples for Life Fall Sessions. Join us for Foundations of Our Faith on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. starting September 12th and Understanding Spiritual Warfare, Thursdays at 7 p.m. starting September 14th. For more information, visit reedtemple.org/events.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Mindful Monday. Y'all, we're in a new month. Welcome to August. August is here. My favorite month because I'm born in the month of August. And it is my anniversary month for Rise Up, Wake Up, Pray Up. Can y'all believe it? But before we get into this very, very, very special, can we call it an episode? I think so. This very special broadcast this morning's talk it through. Before we get started, let's just open with the word of prayer. God, we just love you. We honor you. We magnify you. We just give you all the glory and praise. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this morning. We thank you for a new day. We're just excited to be alive. We are grateful to be in the land of the living. We thank you for just experiences that we were not expecting, for surprising us, for answering our prayers in ways that we couldn't have imagined, for exceeding our expectations, God. We love you. You are good to us. Life may be rough. Life may be hard. It is moving fast, but you are still good. You are still a good God, and we're grateful for that. So I just thank you again for this day. I thank you for this moment, Lord. I ask that you just watch over each and every one of us as we are watching now, as we're watching the future. Just guide us, God. Shine your light upon us. Be a lamp unto our feet. Be a light unto our path. Allow us to know that you're constantly walking with us. Sometimes we may feel alone. We may even be alone, God, but we know that you are always with us. And so we're grateful. I thank you for what we are going to talk about this morning, for how your goodness is shown in just so many ways. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited and I'm grateful. So we love you. We honor you. We thank you. In your son's name we pray. Amen. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, y'all. Happy Monday. It's me. How y'all doing? Okay, I'm so excited. It's just me this morning, okay? But I'm excited because it's my anniversary. It's my anniversary. I have been a part of Rise Up, Wake Up, Pray Up for a year. Y'all, can you believe it? Y'all already know this. This is pre-recorded because where am I? On vacation. I am on, when you guys are watching this, I'm definitely on vacation, but I could not have not do this episode with it being a year of this and not give y'all something cute and fun and definitely full of my personality. So first I just want to say, like, I came here in Reed Temple. Now my Reed Temple anniversary will be 2 years, August 9th, which will be this Wednesday coming up. I don't even know where time is going, like. And it's crazy because it feels like it's been longer than 2 years, but also like 2 years already. Y'all know what I mean, right? You know how life is. Like, man, you feel like things are just moving, but also, how have I been here 2 years already? And so I'm just so grateful to this community. I'm so grateful to Rise Up, Wake Up, Pray Up. When Pastor Mark voluntold me, okay, this was basically a voluntold. Listen, I'm asking, but I'm really not asking that we want you to do this. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, y'all, I'm not a preacher. I'm not going to be up on here preaching. I am very, very, very much involved in mental health. Like, that's where my heart lives. I want to see God's people doing well and striving. And, so I had to really pray this thing through and think about what I wanted Mondays to look like and how I was going to bring myself to this. And, Mindful Mondays was birth, and I'm just in awe. I'm in awe of how much me giving in this space, because it's a sacrifice, y'all. Getting up in the morning, 4:30, getting up so we can be here, make sure everything is running and working well before we get on. But it's a lot, and we thank y'all for every morning, joining us on this journey. And so I'm very, very grateful to God and what this has done for me. I've given a lot, but it has given so much to me, and I didn't see this for myself. I really did not. And that just goes and speaks to, like, not limiting God, right? Not even, just saying, hey, I'm gonna say yes. Like, I feel like I'm gonna pray about this. If this is something that God is moving on your heart to do, like, just jump in. I came and I jumped all the way in this thing. Shout out to my producers. Like, y'all, I am a mess. Okay. Y'all get to see a little bit of mess and me bouncing off the walls. They get to see a whole bunch. And I am a whole hoot. We laugh all the time. I'm gonna be cutting up, and they really have just rocked with me. They just kind of let me go and be like, we support you, whatever you think, like, let's go. And so I just want to tell y'all, thank y'all for loving me well, walking on this journey with me. And so I had this idea for 1 year for my anniversary. Like, let's do something fun, let's do something cute, let's have some interaction or some things that y'all don't necessarily get to see me in. And so right now, you guys, we're gonna play a nice little video for you guys just to see, like, some old I'm not even gonna tell you. Just get ready. Okay, here we go.
Good morning. We are blessed and highly, highly, highly favored. I know it's not Tuesday, it's Monday. I'm Pastor Mark Whitlock of Reed Temple. It's good to be in the house of God one more time. Good morning to our new host. Good morning to our new Monday host. Good morning to Minister Courtney Coleman.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday.
Yet you are under the age of 40, and many would say that people under the age of 40 just ain't coming to church. Definitely in their 30s, like you, aren't coming to church, don't have an interest in church. Let me hear what your thoughts are, particularly dealing with this whole concept of mental health and young people and the church. Let's listen. Let's talk about that today.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think that we also need to change our mindset and our idea of what we look at when we talk about going to church and being a part of a church and what that looks like, I do believe that we are engaged, but not in the way that we're used to, right? We're not engaged as what our parents and what our grandparents looked at, but we desire to know God. We desire to have relationship. We desire to have connectivity, but that is going to look different. And I think in order for the church to continue to move forward, in order for the church to continue to stay connected and to have that grounding, we have to start looking at different ways rather than, okay, we may not be coming into the sanctuary and packing it out that way, but are we connected online? Are they listening in the morning times? Are they going to Bible study? Are they looking and seeking to have an outlet to get connected to God and to get connected to God's people? And I think, even just tracking metrics and things, we can kind of, get into all of that. We just have to open our mind and look at a different perspective on what that looks like. Because again, going to divinity school, it was a lot of people that were my age. Most of my cohort, when we graduated, we are all millennials. And so now what it looks like and what we desire to do with that may be different. Everyone going through divinity, we're not looking to be a preacher, was not looking to be a pastor, but we're looking to be CPEs. We're looking to have nonprofits. We're looking to go into the space of mental health and the connectivity with God. So I think that understanding sometimes things are separate. Our job, I feel like what God has placed us to do is to bring connectivity, to look at all of these things and be able to say, yes, we love God and we desire to have this relationship and we believe God to be who God is. However, how does that look within mental health? How does that look when we're working in hospitals? How does that look when we're working inside of nonprofits where the whole covering may not be underneath the church? And so I think that's how we can start to shift our mindset on, okay, so no, they're not coming to church at 8:00 in the morning, or, they may not be sitting inside at the front row like the other generations are, but to say that we aren't necessarily connected, I just think that we need to be looking at it in a different manner.
God wants us to continue to care for our body. And I believe that our mental health is a part of taking care of our body, our health, our spirit, our heart. And so it's not like our mental health is just separated from who we are. It's a part of God's creation. And so it's important that, just as I take care, of my physical health, God wants me to take care of my mental health, God's whole creation, so that I can show up and live out this life, to carry out the gifts, to carry out my call. And also, speaking of call, I believe that God calls every person to specific things, to specific skills, gifts, and fields. And so I believe that God created, equips, and calls professionals to the field of mental health. I believe that those who are passionate about this, who are gifted in this, who get trained, who spend their money and time to get educated and licensed, I believe that they are called to care for the mental well-being of us.
I am a wife, a mom. Freelance photography is, kind of like my bread and butter, but I love being multi-hyphenate. I love wearing a ton of hats. I love being able to, be a blessing. And, the blessing about being at home with these babies is that I am their first pastor. Like my husband and I are, the first deacons of our home. My husband is the priest of our home. And so we have this grand opportunity to teach them, to train them up. And we don't take that lightly. And so much of our witnessing is just who we are, not so much what we say audibly to them.
Absolutely.
Which, and I don't want to get ahead of you, but I would
get ahead of me.
I would also just refer to myself as a teacher, yeah, and I've written a few books, poetry. I love poetry. I feel like the Bible is a big poem. And so I've just been able to really experience God in so many beautiful ways through the gifts and the talents that He's given me. And my hope and my goal is to just inspire people to want to know Him more. Therapy is amazing. I've gotten so many tools to help me navigate all the stuff of life in therapy. But I will also say that walking through deliverance, which is basically just praying prayers, renouncing stuff, relinquishing it to the Lord, and getting free. I did not have the clarity that I have now before I walked through that experience. And I can share resources that I have for those things. But I just begun last year to pray that God would deliver me from strongholds that maybe I wasn't even aware of, things in my family line. And it's unfortunate that our churches don't have deliverance ministries and don't have places where people can go to say, like, okay, I'm struggling with suicidal thoughts, or I'm struggling with my sexuality, or I'm struggling, like, so to have, because that's a spiritual issue, we need a spiritual solution.
What can we do to create more dialogue concerning the topic of suicide and around mental health within the church? Because this isn't a conversation that we have a lot, Reverend Moody. You know, this isn't something that is put at the forefront. These are things that we try to kind of steer away from and not give enough knowledge and attention, at least in my opinion. And so I just wanted to know, what do you think? How can we create a safe space so that this is something that can be brought up? We can talk about it, and we can help as best we can.
Okay. That's a very good question. And I did my internship with Pastor Whitlock. And that was where the information and the questions came. And so in discussing it with him, we are very aware that it's needed, and that I have been appointed as the director, let me get it straight, the director of pastoral counseling. And in that, we do have where we was, assist persons in that area. So not only counseling, but it can be preached over the pulpit. It also,
sorry,
it can be preached over the pulpit. It can be preached over the pulpit, and also it can be taught in Bible study.
Yes.
And so when you do this, because the Bible tells us, I believe it's Philippians 2:5, says, let this mind be in you that is in Christ Jesus. And so it starts with your mind. If there's an attack on your mind, then you need to be able to express that without judgment. You need to be able to speak to someone who's going to hear you, because that's another part of suicide prevention. After you ask the question, of course, you remove dangerous items from the home, but you ought to be able to speak to someone without judgment. And doing that, you should be able to go to your pastor or someone within one of the ministerial staffs or wherever. But as it stands now, it would be me as the pastoral counseling director. But you need to be free enough. If you can't get help at church, I don't know where you can get it. And one thing I like about the AME, they made sure that before we became ministers in the gospel, we had to have a psychological evaluation. And so that is so important. You can't really assist someone if you need assistance.
Yes.
Amen. And so I just felt the preacher come in the room.
I told you. Told you.
So my passion and what I've been wanting to do is have a counseling center for pastors and their wives, or the wife and their husband, because ministers go through so much. They do. And so, in being a minister, I know that you can't talk to everyone about everything. And especially with counseling, everything is confidential. And so you have to have a counselor where you can go to and speak to them in confidence and know that you're okay. And same way with ministers, you don't know the half of the behind scenes out of the pulpit what a minister goes through. And I really appreciate my daughter who said, she's a PK kid. So she said, I'm going to write a book about a PK child in between the scriptures. And so I said, that works for ministers. What happens in between the scriptures? And so it's so important that we have somewhere to go, someone to talk to who does not judge us. And so it's my desire to have a center where ministers can come and just be themselves. Because when person see you outside the pulpit and you're just being you, you're still being judged as their pastor. And so it's so important that we have a circle of individuals that we can just be us. One thing Dr. Jazz said when she came to visit, she came to speak for the women's ministry. She said, when I go away, I don't take any of these people, talking about the church members. She said, nobody here calls me Dr. Jazz. I'm just who she said. I won't even tell you what they call me, but they don't call me Dr. Jazz. They don't come to me needing something. They don't come to me wanting me to minister to them. She said, I'm just me when I'm around these individuals on vacation or whether they go anywhere. And that is a good tool to live by.
It is.
You have to be yourself. You have to have boundaries. And that's why my circle has gotten so small. And I know it's because God said, where I'm taking you, everybody can't go. And so we're saying that, not that I don't love you, it's just that I cannot enter into your space any longer. And not that I think I'm all that, you know how people say, oh, she has arrived. No, I haven't. I'm still right here, but it's just certain things that you can't tolerate anymore. You can't have that in your ear gate, and you sure can't carry it in your heart, because if you allow persons to feed you that negativity, then it's going to affect how you minister.
But most importantly, I feel like mental health as a whole, not just for men, but mental health as a whole is something in our community that has a stigma attached to it, right? It's not something that we've always speak of. Even therapy is something that could be potentially frowned upon, depending on, the social circle, the family that you grow up in, right? And then specifically for men, we are initially taught to be strong and, don't show your emotions, don't cry, and not recognizing even in your upbringing, although the people that love you have tried to do their very best, their level best, right? May not necessarily work for everyone. So I feel like it's something that does not have enough spotlight. It's truly important. And I think it's also freeing, right? I mean, being able to express yourself, being able to understand where these emotions come from, put them in their appropriate place, and then be able to move on is, again, not a practice that's always taught or available for everyone. So the more dialogue that we have around it, even if we just reach one person, if we get one person off the couch and move to a better mental space, it's important. And so I want to thank you for the hard work that you continue to do in making sure that you spread and you put a spotlight on those things that are not necessarily top priority in the community.
Okay, so how has your emotional well-being changed as you've gotten older? So we just discussed, growing up, how things were, but now that you have the control and the autonomy over who you are as a person, how has that changed as you've grown, as you are a full functioning adult now?
Well, that's subjective, right? So we go through seasons. We talk about seasons all the time. And I was, as I think about this question, there was a time where I was, a people pleaser, right? We talked about that when I was younger. Then when I got into college, I can pinpoint back in college. I think it was my first year at the great Texas Southern University. I'll just go ahead and say that.
There you go with the plug, the HBCU for real.
Yeah, for real. So it was maybe my first or second year that I begin to what I feel like take the shell off, right? And I became, a focused, a risk taker. I became, I had complete dominion over what it is that I was doing. I had great ambition, right? And, that kind of carried me through school into my first years of employment, having a career. And then somewhere along the line, it changed, like it shifted. And that spirit, that hustler spirit, we'll say, right? Took a back seat to something else, which was a familiar role, right? Taking a back seat to what it is that you want and start meshing into something else. And so I lost that individual in those middle years, right? So I feel like I lost that individual in the middle years, and my mental health, my emotions took a back seat to other things that I felt were priority, not recognizing that if I don't love myself, if I don't find happiness within myself, if I don't find value within myself, then I can't outwardly support anybody. Right. The old adage, like every time you get on an airplane, right? Every time you get on an airplane, right? And they give that little safety brief. What do they say? They say, put the mask on yourself first and then help somebody else in need. And I think that is a great analogy to life as a whole. Like you have to help yourself first before you're able to pour out or pour into anything else. So in those middle years, I actually feel like I lost that. But I sit here today as a new individual, like there's a resurgence, like, what anybody else says about me or what anybody else says about what I do does not concern me. It's none of my business.
It's none of your business.
As long as I'm steadfast, right? As long as I'm steadfast and I'm confident in what I'm doing, and I know I'm doing what's right for me and those that are around me, keep pushing, right? Don't let someone that doesn't have the ability to tell you yes, tell you a no. Right? Like you weren't able to give me a yes in the first place. So I'm just going to push on past you, naysayer. Right? Yeah. I'm just going to push on past you.
Keep it moving. In their head more and the voice that you hear more than you. And so are you using those same things and thinking about that within yourself? And so that just kind of leads me to my next question is, how has God helped to facilitate that change with you?
In that middle space that we just talked about, from when I was in school and to now, I feel like you have to be broken. Like you go into a really dark place, right? Yeah. And so I found myself at a period of time in a really, 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 really dark space, and I figured out that contrary to my own belief, I wasn't going to be able to pull myself out of this valley, right? And when you get into those dark spaces, there could be hundreds of people around you looking to help you, but you don't feel and you don't see any of them. It's just dark, right? And I remember praying, right? So like we say things like, knock and the door shall be opened. Ask and you shall receive. Do not lean on your own understanding, right? Like these are trained phrases that we use, but until you actually put it into practice, you have no clue of the power of the Lord, right? Like the fact that you are sitting here breathing right now is a miracle, right? And so in those dark spaces, I'm out there looking for other voices or other people to help me. And when you get quiet and you spend time with yourself and you spend time in prayer, the Lord speaks to you, right? He speaks to you, and he speaks to you, maybe not necessarily with the voice, but when you give it up and you stop trying to control those things you can't control, watch the doors open, watch the miracles happen. It's almost like a dream where every step you take, the light comes on, right? It gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And when I tell you, I got to a place where I felt like I was so broken. And I was responsible for a lot of stuff, right? Like, I was responsible for a lot of things, career, family, friends, social circles, social spaces. And I could not breathe. Got quiet, asked the Lord to show me the way, remove those things that are not of you, right? And just lead me, Lord, lead me, because I can't make it on my own. I can't. And again, I never heard an actual word, but every day it got better and better and better. And those things that I asked for, those things that I prayed for, he said, pray and then wait, right? And just keep moving forward. And I mean, I tell you, I sit here today and I think about all those things that I prayed for. I'm living in it right now. I'm living in it right now. And I think that was okay, don't make me start it. So anyway, because I'm super emotional, I'm trying to hold it together like I got it together. But you know, I think of when my parents took me to church, right? What they did was they may not have been able to give me those spaces where we could talk about emotional maturity and things like that. But they gave me the foundation to know that I could turn to the Lord, and that if there's nobody else there with me, I'm sleeping under a bridge, I'm under a rock, I'm in a desperate situation. The fact that I'm breathing, the Lord is going to provide, right? He is going to be my provider. And so, again, I think that foundation was probably the best thing they could have ever given to me, because when I turned, whatever age it was, we won't discuss it, and I got into that dark place, I began to lean on the Lord. I couldn't hold myself up, right? He was holding me up all along, right? And again, if you do not put action behind the words that you speak, right? Knocking, the door shall be open. Do not lean on your own understanding, right? Ask and you shall receive. Like, if you don't lean on those things and actually put it into to action, then they're just words. If you really want the Lord to move in your life, be quiet and just follow. He's gonna lead you. And so I think God was the architect of, he is the architect of everything. And so in my life, I gave it over to him because I couldn't handle it. I could no longer handle it. And he walked, you know, he led me out. He showed me the way.
Sounds good. I first wanted to ask, how has your relationship with your emotions changed from when you were growing up?
Bro, do you want this one?
Yeah.
Y'all both go answer. So who just go first?
Go first. How's my relationship with my emotions changed? I feel like with myself, it's grown a lot. I about to say, I feel like I'm still figuring it out, honestly. Just because growing up, it was definitely something that wasn't taught to me in a healthy way. I feel like just culturally, with my mom having me when she was still in high school, my dad was pretty young himself, having kids, you know, there's not much of an emotional intelligence to be shared, as opposed to just like, okay, let's just get through with what we know how to do as best as we, you know, as best as we can with the tools that we have, and hopefully he'll come out a great person. That was pretty much the equation when it came to like me being taught how to be emotionally intelligent and how to be in tune with my emotions. And so I feel like I'm still figuring it out. I'm in a much healthier place now because of my relationship with Jesus. But I'm 31 years old, going on 32 in a few months. And it's still a process that I'm working out every day in every relationship that I have, you know, whether it be with my students, whether it be with my wife, whether it be my in-laws or my own parents. There's always some type of emotional checking I have to do before I interact with anybody. And so, it's grown a lot, but it's still a lot of growing. To do. So
with everything else. What about you, Kel?
So I guess there's stuff that has stayed constant in me since I was a child that I just deal with in a more mature manner, and there's things that are polar opposite. So like, I mean, I had like two different emotional checkpoints in my life as a child. So like from adolescence up until, you know, high school, I was emotionally one way, and then I got into high school, some college, I was a whole different a complete different person. And then now, looking back, I still see things from when I was very young that I still hold on to that I'm trying to break, and then things that I like. It's like a whole different person. So anger was like one of those big things, insecurity, and like how to deal with your frustrations. So like as a child, I was always the biggest kid or the darkest kid or as that kid with the weird last name. So like insecurity was like a big factor for me as a child, and rejection, and how to deal with that emotionally without blowing a casket every time and people labeling you as a bad kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I got into high school, college, and you have the freedom as a young adult to really reinvent yourself and be who you want to be. And so then I used that, and that changed me emotionally to be more of a callous, uh, hard person that inevitably led me into decisions that weren't for my good. So I was like a bad decision maker because of my emotions.
Wow.
Yeah, which that
Wow.
like that still can affect anybody to today, especially me. But I have a more wisdom about it. So like with a wife, two children, one of them being a girl, like even if I'm frustrated, I have to know that take them into consideration. So I'm more patient, I'm more loving, and things just roll off my back more. Mainly, if not all, due to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's not one class, not one therapy session or whatever that could have broken those strongholds and broken those chains without Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think you made you connected something that I think sometimes we kind of skip over or may not be able to articulate well, which is like my emotions led me to make bad decisions. Like sometimes we don't even think about, because I'm feeling this type of way, this is going to affect the decisions that I'm going to be making now in the future. And if I don't necessarily pinpoint how I'm feeling or am able to articulate that, it's going to affect every other part in my life as well.
Now, you know what brought me to realize that was being married. So, like, I would see things that my wife would do because she was feeling a certain way. And then I would try to call them out, like, you just want to do this because you mad at me. And, oh, because I didn't take out the trash when you wanted it to, so now you want ice cream. Yeah. you know what I'm saying? And I'll be like, we not doing that. But then on the vice versa, on the opposite spectrum, I'll feel where I pour me a drink. Oh, you just want to drink because you don't want to talk to me right now. It's the same thing. It's like those small decisions to not be intentional with your emotions, talk to them, face them head on. Don't just like tuck them in because eventually they're going to come out. They're going to come out with way more pressure. Just handle it right there. If you don't have a spouse, them emotions will be like, well, look, I'm about to go hit the block, or I'm about to go to the club, I'm about to holler at such and such and such and such. And then now you have all these reverberations of that action, and you're like, how did I get here? Because you made this decision when you were feeling this way.
Yeah. Okay, so that kind of leads into the next part where
should have got a haircut, y'all.
You look good.
It's not too much.
Are there any areas God had to teach you concerning your emotions while being married? So Kel kind of talked a little bit about that. Brody, what about you? Have there been some areas like you need to really push into your emotions with being married?
Man, that's right on the money. Just because I've always been for the majority part of my life, I've always like adhered to like this big introvert badge. Like I held that introvert badge real proudly. I'm like, listen, don't. If anything ticks me off, you'll never know it. And so, of course, that kind of translates into me being passive aggressive, or me just burying something like so deep to the point where I don't acknowledge it, and then it's rotting on the inside out in other ways that I didn't recognize. And Kel hit a big one: insecurities. Your boy was big insecure the majority part of my life. And that for sure translated well into my relationship with Jen. Even before we got married, I'm grateful that she called it out before we got married because I think it would have been super, super damaging. But even in the sense of those insecurities still come back to haunt me a little bit. And we have to be intentional. Her and I both have to be intentional in kind of cutting the head off of that the moment it pops up, because the moment that it does, I start to see it play out in these small, intricate ways, like Kel was saying, that kind of reverberates down the line. Jen may upset me or frustrate me or offend me a week ago, and I'm still living off that offense a week later, you know what I'm saying, to the point where I don't want to serve her as much as I serve her or as joyfully as I serve her. And so I'm thinking, I don't have children yet, but I'm thinking like, I don't want my children growing up and seeing that type of emotional behavior, just because it took me all of this time to learn what that looks like and how that plays out in a healthy and an unhealthy way. And I don't want to reciprocate that for them to just repeat all over again. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's just, y'all are so good.
Good, I was had a dip, but that was good. I was listening.
Good. Because I'm just appreciative that you guys are taking the time, because let's just be honest, like, I mean, granted, in our friend group, right? The girls, we're all talking. We got a whole group chat. We're constantly going and verbalizing how we feel about things. And in our culture, and even I think our age group is doing a better job, just even with you two being here, about Black men and speaking about their emotions, but just seeing how y'all are intentional about realizing what it is within you to make sure that it doesn't play out in your marriage, to make sure that it doesn't play out for your children. Like, that is just, it's just not about us, right? It's about the totality of who we are in all of the relationships that we're going to hold. And so it just makes me really happy.
I mean, when you think about it, there's nothing that puts it more in the front of your brain than marriage, because I wasn't thinking about my friends the way I'm thinking about them now. You know, I was like, man, y'all better get your life together. Right. And I got my wife. I'm like, well, we got to pray for her. What can we do to help? You know what I'm saying? Make sure heart more open and have a heart of servitude. You know what I'm saying? Servitude towards your spouse, which trickles down to every other relationship. You start looking at your kids, and now you're looking at, I have to be a certain way in front of them so they don't pick up any bad habits. It's now that trickles into any area in your life where you can't just say, that's who I am. I'm just what you could, and it don't work like that, you know?
It's so good. It's so good. Okay. Do you feel comfortable in this phase in your life to be expressive concerning your mental health and your emotions? Like, is it a comfortable thing for you guys to do? Do you feel more comfortable at this point in your life to be able to do so? Because just because you do it doesn't mean that it's easy or you're comfortable doing it.
I think for me, I'm way more comfortable. If anything, I'm a little bit more proactive in it now than I was even like a couple of years ago. And reason being, and I think a big part of that has to do with me being in full-time industry now. I've grown up in church my entire life, and I've seen industry done a lot of different ways, but the majority of those ways I've seen done in a very unhealthy way, to the point where I've seen people rot from the inside out. People who look who look like they are serving God and they're doing great things for the kingdom, and they're happy, they're joyful, they're full of peace, their household is in order, and it's the complete opposite. And they leave the ministry, and not even the ministry, but they leave the entire faith because of it, because they don't have a space to be like, hey, I'm struggling with this, without them being thrown Bible verses and worship songs.
Come on, Brody. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, hey, like, what's really going on with your heart? And okay, let's take a step back and see what that is. And so now for me, I'm taking a proactive approach, and it's kind of impacted not just my ministry, but even my life at home, and even with my relationships and my friendships and things of that nature. I have to be like, listen, I'm in a tough space right now. Jim will tell you I've come home many nights and been like, I'm super discouraged because this didn't happen the way I wanted to, or didn't happen the way I thought it would go, or I'm really struggling because this kid that I'm I'm walking with is going through some heavy stuff, and I don't know if I'm the man to walk with them with this. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of that tends to seep into everything else. And I'm grateful that the ministry I work for they're always throwing resources and tools at us, and giving us a space to be like, okay, most importantly, you need to be good before you're any good to your wife, before you're any good to these people that you're ministering over and you're shepherding. You need to be good. You can't pour out of an empty glass. So they make sure that they provide a space for me to be like, hey, I ain't liking what's going on around here, or I don't like this about this, or I'm having trouble with this, or I'm having trouble with that. And so for me, because of those resources and those tools that I've been given and that I can put in my tool belt, I'm even more like, I'm quick to say, I ain't feeling good today. I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it. And I think, and that's not to say like when I'm not feeling it, that gives me an excuse to disregard my responsibilities and what I'm called to, but it does give me a space to be like, all right, God, I'm going to invite you into this, and we're going to see where this goes. You know, I'm going to just put it all out there. And I know that whatever I get back from that is for my own good. So
I love that. I love that.
Brother,
What about you, Jeff?
I was gonna go, ooh, brother, drop some names, man. The messiness in me. Please excuse me. I know my little.
No, listen, it's
the lawnmowers came.
No!
Yeah, they messed up my whole seaside bay thing I got going on
it's
outside.
Right.
And then I got my kids running around. They don't understand what daddy's trying to do. So please excuse me. But yeah, I have to agree with Brody on pretty much everything he said. You know, when you get around a circle of believers who share the same core values as you, that's important. You know, you could be believers and y'all believe polar opposites on how people are supposed to act in this world. And then you get around those same believers and nobody is disingenuous. Everybody's authentic. Everybody has more grace and more empathy than judgment, you know what I'm saying, and ridicule, or just telling you what you need to do. People are active and generous listeners. You know, that's very life-changing. That's a game changer. So like what you were talking about with work, as far as working in ministry, you know, anybody that is active in the workforce, they know like majority of your life or time is at work. And so if you're working in ministry or not, you know, you want to be working with people who understand what it's like to be a Christian in this world. So they understand that every day I'm fighting for joy. I'm fighting for being able to display the fruits of the Spirit. But there's some days that it's hard. And those days that are hard are very real. So like you working in a ministry and they are like the messy folk you was talking about earlier. Imagine what that does to somebody's security, how like you're witnessing unsafe practices and then asking me to be safe. It doesn't work like that. But when you see genuine authenticity and you feel safe, like that, you don't have to tell me to feel safe. I feel safe. Like case in point, remember Sherry?
Yes.
So that wasn't. We weren't working at a Christian organization. We weren't working in ministry, but this Christian woman who was in authority.
That's right.
Was so authentic and so genuine and kind and displayed fruits of the Spirit of just being good and kind and joy, like patient and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
She made it to where I could come and tell you anything. Sherry, I'm having a bad day. Sherry, I'm running late because of XYZ. I don't want to come in today. And we'll get it done. We'll work through it. She's going to make sure the job get done. Yes. But it's just a different level of safety. It's a different level of comfort. And I think, you know, if you find yourself in those places, and and I've found myself in that place. It hasn't been like that for everybody. I found myself around a group of friends, Brody being one of them. Y'all, I don't know if y'all know me and Brody tight too. Y'all was talking about dates and how long. I didn't even get to Brody. We've been about 6-7 years, you know what I'm saying?
I started this off that we are our friend group. I started this off by saying
okay,
we are a friend
I
group.
don't care longer than I know my wife.
One thing Courtney gonna do is she gonna remember what she said. She gonna
That's right.
Oh,
I don't remember, but I think you made an excellent point about the equivalence, or not the equivalence, but the connectivity between comfortability and being safe. Am I comfortable giving up my emotions? Is directly tied to how safe I feel with being able to share those things. So I think that is important when it comes to the body, when it comes to the church, when it comes to people in our family. If we're looking, are we allowing a safe place for men, for Black men to come and to be vulnerable and to lay down their feelings and to be able to say, yo, I'm angry in this moment. I am disappointed. I am sad. I don't know how I'm feeling. I just know that I'm a little off and I need some time to figure out what's going on and to look at those things as being strong and not, projecting this narrative of having emotions, expressing your emotions is a form of weakness. Because it's really not. It takes way more strength to be able to articulate how you feel about something, to be able to pinpoint those things, to be able to have the courage to speak about it than it does to just say, no, I'm just not going to have it. Like, I'm not going to say anything. It takes way more courage to provide that. Go ahead. Okay, y'all. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope that you got a lot of laughs. You were able to remember all of the things that we've talked about. I mean, this is 52 weeks, right? 52 weeks of having people on, talking about mental health, looking on the journey of what that looks like for us, opening up. Y'all seeing me with my plants. You guys have just been, I just throw a little curveball out there and you guys, you take it and you run with it. And I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of everyone who comments. Thank y'all so much for that, for engaging with me. For when you see me at church, telling me, man, we listen every Monday and we just really enjoy you. Like, those things, they just bring me love and joy and like God's love. And for me to just say, this is who I am, how y'all see me. And I'm pretty sure people can vouch for that. When you see me in person, I am exactly the way that you see me right here. And I just thank y'all for accepting me and loving me that way and being on this journey. And I hope that you guys have been able to gain as much as I've been able to gain. Your mind has been open to new ideas and experiences, to be able to see God in the earth and in nature and in your house plants, and been able to see and understand God when it comes to our mental health and what we can do for each other and what we can do for others, and how to walk in forgiveness we were just talking about last month. And this month, we're in refueling and regenerating, right? And resting and relaxing. That's what we're talking about in August. And so I'm hoping that y'all feel that, you can experience that. And so this is just a big thank you. I'm excited for what this next year is going to hold and what God desires and what we're going to do and how things are going to go and new ideas. And I'm just excited to see. And so again, another big shout out to my producers. Thank you so much, John, Cliff, and Rob. Like, y'all have been rocking with me, okay? And I work them hard, y'all. All right, not too hard. I feel like they love me well, but they completely support me. I come up with ideas. Okay, I want to do this, or I'm thinking about doing this, and they make it happen for me. So I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all so much, and thank you. Thank you for rolling your eyes behind the camera, but also rocking with me. I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who said yes to coming on the show, to wanting to just be a part of what God is doing and doing it in a different light. Thank you to Pastor Mark for volunteering me, okay, that this is what's going to happen. And just thank you for all the viewers and the watchers and the people who send it to other people and share Like we wouldn't be able to continue to do this without y'all. So thank you so much. Thank y'all so much. And we on a journey, okay? We are on the journey. I'm gonna close this out in prayer and we're gonna get out of here, okay? God, we just come to you again, just saying thank you. Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for exceeding our expectations. Thank you for putting desires in our heart that we didn't think that we wanted, God. Thank you for showing up and showing out. Thank you for each and every person who watches and views and gains something, God. I said when I started this that if only one person was to be helped, that one person felt loved, that one person felt closer to God, like I had done my job. And so to know and to feel that it's been more than one person, that's just abundance. That's just the extra. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you, God. I'm grateful to the role and the place that you play in my life. And I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And so I just ask that you just continue to walk with me, God. Show me what it is that you desire for us to do next, how we can impact not just Reed Temple, but our community, our beloved community, and the world. We all can make a difference by just doing our part in where you've called us to be. So I thank you. I'm excited. I love you. We trust you. In your son's name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Happy Monday. Happy Mindful Monday. Be mindful of the new things that are coming. And happy August. Favorite month. Love you guys. And I'll see you next week. Bye.